Hello everyone, and welcome to Triple Ace Venture. I am Andres, and I'm here to talk to you about my first home buying process. Today you're going to learn about the whole process when it comes to buying your first home, as well as the cost that comes with it, and some costs that you may incur after buying the house. So let's get right into the video, but right before that, please leave a like and subscribe if you're looking forward to more content like this one. Let's get to it. Alright, the first thing you want to do when buying a home is find yourself a great real estate agent. A good real estate agent is going to have a lot of contacts, networking. Pretty much they're going to have access to everybody that you need for this home buying process. They'll have contacts to contractors, loan officers, as well as inspectors. Anything you may need when it comes to buying a house, a good real estate agent is going to have a contact for you to help you out. As well as a good real estate agent is going to have your best interest in mind. They're going to make sure that you get something that you want and that you're aware of everything you need to know when it comes to home buying. They'll give you advice, they'll give you feedback, they'll give you their opinions on each situation, and of course it's going to be up to you on what you're going to decide to do when you buy a home. So the main thing to do is find yourself a great real estate agent like I did. Now the second step of buying your first home is finding yourself a great lender. Again, this is something you can ask your agent for, see if they have any recommendations. But you want to get qualified or pre-qualified for a loan before you start looking for houses with your agent, because you want to know how much you're able to afford. You don't want to look for houses out of your price range and then get your hopes up on your dream home and then get let down because you're unable to qualify for a loan, as well as start looking for houses outside of your price range, and then when you find out what your true affordability is when it comes to loans ends up being lower than what you were looking at, no homes will compare to those homes you've already viewed, and it will skew your perspective on all the other homes you go view in the future. So you want to make sure you get pre-qualified first, know your numbers before you go searching for houses. Now, a few things that your loan officer may ask you is going to be your credit report. You have to give permissions for them to view your credit report, as well as 2 years worth of tax returns, as well as 6 months worth of pay stubs and 6 months worth of bank statements. This is what my loan officer asked for me. It may differ with you depending on where you're at in life, as well as what you have in terms of liabilities. I didn't have a car, so I didn't really have to put that down as a liability. But if you have other expenses that you may be incurring, those will report on your credit check, and they will most likely ask you for documentation on that. After you get pre-qualified, you know what your price range is. You can begin looking at houses with your real estate agent. You do not want to look beforehand because you don't want to waste your time or your agent's time. Once you know your set range, you can also ask your loan officer to give you different monthly payments depending on what range it is that you're looking for. That way you have an idea on what your monthly payments will be. Keep in mind, this isn't going to include your taxes. This isn't going to include your home insurance. And if you get a PMI on there, which you will get if you pay less than 20% down payment, that's not going to be included in that monthly payment. So just keep that in mind, that your monthly payment may be more if you decide to bundle everything together. If you don't decide to bundle everything together in your loan, you're still going to get those costs. It's just not going to be in that one loan payment. So just please keep that in mind. Number 3, searching for a home. Now that you're looking for a home, you want to make sure you have a set criteria when it comes to looking. That way you can go ahead and give it to your real estate agent and they're able to help you filter out which houses to go view and which ones not to go view. Of course, they'll still give you the listings for other houses that are within your price range, but they will let you know that, hey, these don't match your criteria, assuming you're asking for that. Reason for this is you don't want to look at houses that have criteria that you're gonna say, I don't want this house because it doesn't have a big backyard, it only has one bathroom, it only has one room, 2 rooms, 3 rooms. Depending on what your criteria is, will determine which houses you will go look for going forward in the searching process. So make sure you have that criteria set forth before you begin this process. Once you found your dream home, you have to write an offer, which is step number 4. When writing an offer, it can sway either way. You can go ahead and ask for a lower price, higher price, or what it is the seller is asking for. Keep in mind, we are in a seller's market. So if it's a home you really want and it's a home that you're buying for yourself and not for investment purposes, then make sure to keep that in mind, because you are gonna be placing bids along with other people. I would suggest to try to put in a lowered offer, and unfortunately if they don't take it, there are plenty of homes out there for you that you may fall in love with later on. Again, that's more for investment purposes than anything. But if you don't care about that, you can go ahead and place the bid at asking price or higher price. You can always try to lower the price later on when it comes to your inspections, and we'll go more into that in a little bit. But just keep in mind, ask your real estate agent, hey, what is it that you recommend? They can't give you an answer. They could just tell you these are the pros and cons. These are on each aspect. And then of course it's up to you on what you decide. You may lose the house, you may keep the house. It really depends. Sometimes the sellers don't even care about the price. It may depend on the terms. So if you put contingency, such as it depends on approval of loan and approval of home inspection. Someone else may put a lower offer, but they, instead of having a 3-week home inspection period, they'll have a 1-week home inspection period. And the sellers very want to try to sell the house fast. So they'll say, I don't care if I'm getting a lower offer, I want this sold as soon as possible. We'll take the one with the 1-week inspection. In our case, when we made an offer, we put a contingency for them to be able to stay at the house, given that they're still looking for their house afterwards. Basically, the way that worked was whatever our monthly payment was for our loan, they would pay part of it on a daily basis. So let's say it was $2,000 for $2,000 monthly on our loan. Divide that by 30 days, and that's around 66.66, I believe. So around $67 a day they would pay. So if they stayed for a day, they would pay 67. They stayed 5 days, just multiply 67 times 5. And that's how much they ended up paying. So this allowed them the freedom to go ahead and find their dream home without having to rush after selling their house to us, which is why I believe that's one of the main reasons why they chose us over other offers. Once an offer gets accepted, then comes the inspection period. This is your chance to go ahead and try to bring down the price depending on what you find. Always is recommended to have a home inspector go around the house, try and see stuff that you may not see, and get a second opinion on issues you may spot around the house. I know when I got my house inspection, there was a lot of stuff that I wasn't aware of. They took amazing pictures. One of our main issues when buying the house was the roof. The roof was damaged. We needed to get a repair. And that was definitely my biggest fear, is having to replace a roof, because living in California, that can be costly, around 15 grand was the estimate to replace the whole roof that we got. We ended up talking to the seller, and we agreed that we would just do the repairs, but they would pay for it. Thankfully, they ended up paying for the roof repair and got that squared away. That was our only gripe when it came to the inspections. We probably could have brought it down more, but me and my wife, we were eager to move out as soon as possible to this house. We were very excited to get into our own place. So we were happy with just getting the roof repaired, and everything else we would repair ourselves or pay someone to repair in the future. Hopefully I'm able to put some pictures up here on what was wrong with the roof. That way you can see. The home inspector did a great job taking pictures. They pointed out a lot of stuff with like the outlets not having protective frame, the outlet outside didn't have weatherproofing covering. A lot of stuff that honestly helped me find out, okay, hey, this is stuff that is gonna need working on once we move in. Once you go through the home inspection list, then you can decide whether you want to get more professional inspection. So like we got a roofer to come inspect the roof. For the most part, when it comes to estimates, it's usually free. So in this case, we were planning on getting the roof repaired, so we came in for an estimate to get it repaired. That's usually free. When it comes to inspections, however, so if you get like a termite inspection, electrical wiring inspection, sewage inspections, etc., you're gonna have to pay out of pocket for that. It is well worth it if you believe you need it inspected. In our case, in California, houses average around 400,000. At least in the Inland Empire, around 300,000 to 500,000 is the price range for the houses around our area. So spending an extra $300 to make sure we don't buy a home where a repair may cost us $10,000 is definitely well worth the investment. So keep that in mind. Better to pay up front than have to pay in the back end to get something repaired, especially if you have to tear like drywall down or anything else that you're gonna have to reconstruct afterwards to get it repaired. So throughout this process, our agent basically acted as a liaison between the seller agent, the inspector, the roofers, making sure that everything was done correctly. Throughout this whole process, she sent us documents electronically, and there's a lot of documents that we had to sign. Thankfully, she was up to date and was able to do the majority of these documents electronically. That way we wouldn't have to meet or go over to her offices or have her come over to our house, which takes time and scheduling. It's a lot easier when you have to do it electronically. So I would suggest having someone who is able to have you sign documents electronically. Of course, there are some documents where you're not able to sign it electronically and you do have to go to the office, but for the ones we were able to do via mail or DocuSign, it made it a lot easier than what it could have been back in the day. Really, through all the craziness, everything was said and done. We signed escrow, we signed all our loan documents, and we got the house. Luckily, and this is something that our agent told us a lot of people are unaware of. Luckily, our agent ended up letting us know, hey, you're gonna get a bill in the mail for property taxes. This is a one-time payment that you get when you purchase a home. But it ended up being like around $4 grand. We believe we had to pay like $2,300 or around there for the first 6 months, and then $2,300 the next 6 months in property taxes for the home. So just be aware of this when buying a home. Don't use all your money for down payment and escrow. you do want to have something available when it comes to paying the property tax, or have a way to earn that money and pay it in the future. So just be aware of that. You are going to get billed. If you miss your deadline on those, I believe they add in 10% for each deadline you miss towards your fund. So $2,000, 10% is $200. You do not want to miss your deadline. You want to make sure you pay that forward. So just keep that in mind when buying a house. You want to try and make sure that you have enough money to pay your property tax. Now, some other expenses that you're going to incur as well after purchasing your house, like I said before, is going to be your home insurance, your yearly property taxes, as well as utilities like your water bill, your electrical bill, your waste bill, depending on where you live. In our case, our waste is paid off through our taxes, your gas bill, etc. You're gonna have recurring bills that you're gonna have as well. So please make sure you keep that in account when you're making your budget for your monthly payments, along with the mortgage costs. And that's pretty much the whole process from start to finish, at least from my experience of buying a home here in California. That's pretty much what we went through. Luckily, it wasn't too hard. We had a great real estate agent. In the future, hopefully I can make a video on questions you can ask, or how you can find a great real estate agent to help you out throughout all this process. And trust me, it is a grueling process. If you try going alone, I'm sure some of you guys can figure it out, but it definitely helps to have someone who knows what they're doing day in and day out. So just keep that in mind. I'm gonna come out with a future video on the cost of our mortgage and how escrow ended up here in California. So for those of you who live in this area or want to invest in this area, you guys have an idea on how much the cost is, or at least the cost for our place. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye.